Transplant and immunosuppressed patients are prone to experience failures of immunosuppressive drugs quite frequently. And this failure translates into problems such as the loss of 50% of all organ transplants within a decade and a half due to events like rejection and other immunological injury, life-threatening infections and cancers. And as a result, this increases the cost of healthcare. The gold standard transplant biopsies detect transplant rejection, but cannot predict drug failures. And there are no good tests to predict infection on the market. A sizable number of patients experience these problems and include over 400,000 patients living with organ transplants in the US right now, to which we add 43,000 new patients each year. Of note, over 1% of the US population is considered immunocompromised for other reasons. And globally, this population is at least 3 times as large. Our solution is to offer tools to personalize immunosuppression management with cell-based blood tests to predict transplant rejection and infection. Our tests are uniquely suited because they cost half as much. They produce results 24 hours sooner than anything else that's on the market. And most importantly, we are supported by a deep pipeline of patents and regulatory approvals that can keep us making new products in-house for the foreseeable future. We've had several interesting milestones in our company life, and they include the FDA approval of our first blood test to predict transplant rejection in children. The use of this test system in over 25% of pediatric transplant centers. Development of in-house test kit manufacturing capabilities with SBIR funding from the National Science Foundation, and most recently, CMS approval of our blood test for transplant rejection. As a result, we've been able to test over 6% of all children who've been transplanted with liver and intestine transplants since the beginning of record keeping in the US. We are cash flow positive as of 2023 on the strength of revenues that were 40% higher than the previous year. We're now poised to exploit opportunities in the adult transplant market based on a recent CMS guideline, which restricts the use of cell-free DNA-based rejection testing. And we are uniquely poised, again, because of our complete suite of tests that are cell-based, which detect rejection and can predict infection, unlike other companies which have only gene-based tests to predict rejection. We have an experienced management team to date, and that consists of myself, a transplant surgeon, and who's been developing these tests and products like these for some time, with the help of my laboratory director. Our lead investor is also our CEO and has experience in distribution overseas. And we have our head of operations who's done the same work for several other startup companies in the past. Our advisory board consists of 2 key opinion leaders, one a transplant surgeon and the other a transplant physician. We have consulted frequently, informally, with several other individuals, most notably 3 veterans in the diagnostic space who stand ready to join us as we achieve funding. We are seeking $3 million in the first round, and we are already approved for a $400K convertible debt investment by 2 state-funded venture groups who require matching private funds. We propose to deploy 2/3 of our funds towards team build-out in the area of sales, marketing, and executive teams, as well as in digital marketing opportunities. We'd like to spend 1/3 of it for laboratory automation to increase efficiencies. But most importantly, we are uniquely positioned based on cell-based diagnostics to create test kits. And these test kits can be used in our satellite labs, which we plan to put in place in high-density transplant regions or at the point of care in hospital systems. This should accelerate delivery of test results to either the same day or the next day, unlike the current state standard, which requires overnight shipment of blood samples to reference labs. We expect to generate revenues of $79 million by year 5 after funding by increasing our laboratory-based enterprise, adding to it the satellite lab concept that we mentioned, and most importantly, expanding our presence in the immunology contract research space. We look forward to explaining more about our company and our quest for creation of personalized medicine in the immunocompromised patients in the breakout room. Thank you.